Hello everyone in a new video. Today we are going to talk about one of the best known UFO events from Poland. It is relatively unknown in the West as it took place during the communist times. We are going to go back in time to 1978 to a village called Emilcin in the Lubelski region in Poland, which saw an alleged meeting of a human being with extraterrestrial visitors. On the 10th of May 1978 at 7:30 hours in the morning, farmer Jan Wolski, who was a resident of Emilcin, was heading back home from the nearby village of Dąbrowa Puśnieńska riding a horse-drawn carriage. On his way home, Wolski met two strangers who were short in stature and dressed in black overalls with hoods. These beings were reported to stand at approximately 4 feet 8 inches or 140 centimeters. The strangers approached Wolski talking in high-pitched and sharp tones and sounds. They reportedly jumped onto the carriage, apparently wanting a ride. Wolski's first impression was that the strangers were scouts dressed up and wearing strange costumes. However, as he looked at them more closely, he noticed that they had unusual facial features, a bit too sharp for a regular person. As they rode on, after about 300 yards or so, Wolski noticed a silver craft hovering several meters above the ground. As they approached the craft, a hatch opened and a staircase descended to the ground. The strangers hopped off the carriage and motioned Wolski to step into the craft, now accompanied by one more being atop the craft itself. Wolski tied his horse to a nearby tree and followed the beings inside. As they entered the craft, the farmer noticed several apparently paralyzed birds, possibly rooks or crows. Inside the craft, the farmer was asked to undergo a medical examination of sorts, after which he left the craft and bid farewell to the aliens. According to his own words, the entire event lasted approximately several minutes. The strangers were kind and smiled, and Wolski never felt anyhow threatened for even a second. After returning home, Jan Wolski told his sons about his strange encounter. The younger men in turn told the locals about the event, and soon enough a group followed to the meeting spot described by Wolski. However, the location itself was now empty, and all that was left were several foot imprints in the meadow. The residents of Emilcin, however, did not doubt the story presented by Wolski, who was generally considered to be a very reliable person by the neighbors, and someone who would never resort to pranks or otherwise telling false stories to the people he knew. The report provided by Wolski was soon corroborated by a local boy, a 6 years old Adam Popiołek, who also allegedly saw the craft described by Wolski. Both stories differed in slight details, but Adam reported that the craft appeared above the village center, where it was observed for a moment by him and his siblings playing there, and soon the craft rushed upwards with a tremendous roaring noise. Stanisław Plis, the commander of the local police station in Opole Lubelskie, arrived at the location of the encounter and also took a statement from Wolski. In his report, the police officer recorded that the farmer most likely fell asleep and the entire event was nothing but a very convincing dream. The Wolski family was also contacted by an amateur ufologist Witold Wawrzonek, who also informed Zbigniew Blania, a ufologist and a researcher of paranormal phenomena, about the event. Wolski and Blania met, and their talk convinced Wolski to undergo a medical examination as a precaution. During the talk, the farmer also mentioned that the encountered strangers were of short stature, resembled the Chinese people, and looked more like little gremlins rather than visitors from another world who looked vastly different than humans. The beings were also reportedly extremely heavy, as his carriage tilted under the weight. The craft which transported the beings was roughly parallel-piped in shape, and in Wolski's own words resembled a bus a little. In the corners of the craft there were rotating elements he called vortexes, and the craft let out a sound similar to that of a working transformer. In regards to the medical examinations he underwent, the visitors asked Wolski to undress and applied metal items similar to plates to his body. The items emitted clicking sounds now and then as they worked. An odd detail involved the strangers being fascinated by a belt buckle in the farmer's trousers. The alien beings also consumed some delicacy resembled ice cones. They also offered this to Wolski, who however refused the offer. At the end of the examination, Wolski dressed up again and bowed while bidding farewell to the strangers, who repeated the same gesture in response. The psychiatrist examining Wolski excluded the possibility that the farmer confabulated the story. Zbigniew Blania also presented the story to the media, and once it hit the media and became widely known, people came forward and reported their own meetings with the extraterrestrial visitors, one of which took place in Przyrownica in Wolski region and another in Golina in Greater Poland. Overall, however, the public remained largely skeptical to the reports presented in the media. The entire event was also presented in a documentary movie recorded in 1978 in Polish entitled A Visit or At the Threshold of Mystery. Jan Wolski himself passed away 12 years after the event. He was 71 at the time of the event and remained convinced that he met the representatives of an extraterrestrial civilization until his dying breath. The Emilcin event was also the subject of a study conducted much later in 2012. The study was carried out by one Bartosz Rdutowski, a journalist. He concluded that the entire event was a hoax prepared by the aforementioned Witold Wawrzonek and was intended to discredit Zbigniew Blania as a ufologist. The gentlemen previously clashed during a TV show. According to this study, Wawrzonek was supposed to hypnotize Wolski and implant false memories in the farmer's psyche. Wawrzonek initially planned to admit the fraud, but once the event was announced in the media, he decided to keep the hoax a secret. Rdutowski also pointed out methodological errors by Blania, who approached the case with a conclusion already formed and tailored the studies to obtain a confirmation of his extraterrestrial hypothesis. The version of events presented by Rdutowski was, however, criticized by the Polish UFO community. The Emilcin event itself was commemorated with a monument erected in the village in 2005 by the Nautilus Foundation from Warsaw, which studies UFOs and which we can now see on the screen. The alleged meetings with representatives of an extraterrestrial civilization was also the subject of a comic by Grzegorz Rosiński titled The Visitors and published in issue 27 of the Relax magazine. The Emilcin event still remains one of the most important alleged encounters involving unidentified flying objects and purported extraterrestrial beings in Poland, as well as the potentially most important close encounter of the third kind in Poland, and the village itself is frequently visited by UFO fans and researchers. Local residents still say that the visit by the unknown craft was not just a one-off occasion, and that similar sightings are reported in the local area. I decided to add links to a video in which the local residents present their memories of Jan Wolski, as well as the video titled Return to Emilcin, recorded in 1995 and involving Witold Wawrzonek. The third video includes memories of an Emilcin resident regarding a UFO sighting above the monument commemorating the original event, which occurred in 2010. Unfortunately, the videos are in Polish, but I still decided to add the links to them for posterity. Another craft was observed over Emilcin in 2017 and a photograph was recorded. It is unfortunately quite blurry, but it indeed caught an object which, as you can see, roughly resembles the shape of the original craft described by Jan Wolski back in 1978. In the next video we are going to hit a lighter and a more casual tone. The video will be highly speculative in nature, as I am going to present various alleged extraterrestrial species or races described by experiencers who are persons reporting direct encounters with beings who are extraterrestrial or of different origin, perhaps inter- or extra-dimensional. Until the next time, and keep looking up to the sky. Who knows what we are going to see there.